So I was thinking of a topic for a video, and sometimes I do hit mental blocks, but I came to the point where I'm just feeling exhausted by everybody and everything right now. And I was having trouble wanting to do a video with a more positive spin to get away from all the other stuff going on right now and people fighting and all the rage. And I'm finding it hard to do because I think this is something that we're sitting in right now. We're in a phase, a period where a lot of people are feeling really emotionally exhausted, spiritually exhausted. They may not be motivated to do other things because they're just, it's like we're overwhelmed by a lot of stuff, right? And you could argue, well, you can get offline and you can escape it for a little while, but it's always going to kind of come back. There's always that default setting that's going on right now. We can only be so ignorant with things. So let's talk about it, okay? Whether you want to hear it or not, I'm going to talk about it because I feel like it's important. But I feel like right now there's a lot of narratives going around to the effect of, why can't they just see? Why can't they just understand? Why can't they just see what I see, right? And then the other person's like, well, you're stupid. Like, you can't see through what's going on and open up your eyes and wake up. And this is just fueling the fire of our anger, right? We're sitting in default states of anger. And this is intended, I believe, right, as a distraction. We're sitting in the age of distraction. But the intention is to get us into this state of anger so that it eventually just exhausts us. So what does anger do? It constricts in the body from a chi standpoint, constricts in the body, and then it just, everything tenses up, but eventually it will exhaust you to the point of you just don't have the energy or the motivation. It exhausts your chi, it exhausts your life force in the body. So that's what we're seeing right now, where there's all this rage happening online, where we have become shells of ourselves, not whole people. We are shells, and we are just projecting out our own biases. Okay, so from a psychological standpoint, here I'll give you a little definition here. Selective perception. Let's talk about that because that's important. According to Mr. Google, it's the tendency to not notice and more quickly forget stimuli that cause emotional discomfort and contradict prior beliefs. Another definition, real quick, from helpfulprofessor.com. This is a better one, I think. Selective perception is the cognitive process where individuals choose to focus on certain stimuli or aspects of a situation while ignoring others. We see this a lot in the world right now. It's influenced by individual expectations, beliefs, and past experiences. This phenomenon can lead to biases and skewed understanding of reality. So we're seeing all these different opinions, right? Or basically like two-sided opinions. But you have to understand that what's going on right now is a lot of cognitive bias just coming out, okay? Coming out to the surface. And our tendency to favor information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs. So that's the psychological standpoint, right? And then we have a whole other spiritual aspect. And then people have cognitive bias around spirituality or religion, and even though they're not the same thing, may say, oh, well, I don't want to hear any kind of new age bullshit, new age hippie stuff. It's all BS, and I'm just going to sit in my state of anger and be comfortable there. We've become comfortable in our states of anger. It has become the new normal emotion. And we have other emotions, right? We have fear, we have joy. We're not sitting in a lot of joy lately, but anger, okay? And what does anger do? It exhausts us, but it also, when we're exhausted, we react more to other people. We're easier to manipulate, right? So take our cognitive biases, and add in the internet. Okay? And the internet feeds into these cognitive biases. It triggers our emotions through algorithms. It taps into our confirmation bias. Keeps us in a state of anger and division and draining us. Okay? So just two other examples. selective perception, confirmation bias, right? People seek out, remember information that confirms pre-existing beliefs, and the halo effect. When someone forms a positive impression of someone based on one characteristic, they may assume other positive traits about them without evidence, okay? So facts don't matter. What matters is my truth, my belief, okay? How I feel, what my values, what's aligned to my existing beliefs, okay, is our truth. We filter reality based on our past and experiences and stuff like that. So that's the aspect of it from a psychological standpoint. Our brain is our computer, right? But if you think about it, let's bring in a more spiritual aspect. We're not just our brain, right? We're more than the computer, which is why we're not the same as an AI robot, right? We have something called a soul, spirit, whatever you believe. You know, if you believe that once we're dead, or that you can just replace us with robots, yeah, good luck with that for our future, right? You've seen the movies, you've seen Black Mirror and all that stuff. You know that there's something more, and you may be in denial about it. You know, say when you feel joy or elation or some connectedness or something, you have an experience when you feel awe, right? When you go outside, that's the difference, right? When you have creativity where you're creating something out of nothing, that is your connection to the cosmos, all right? We meet in the middle between our physical form and the universe at bay. So, you know, right now, let's bring into the symbol of the snake, because it is the year of the snake until February. And, you know, let's look at it this way, okay? A snake symbolizes, it can be a symbolism of duality, of good and evil, right? So a lot of people are scared of snakes. A lot of people are afraid of snakes just because maybe they're ugly, they look slimy, whatever. They feel like they're gonna, whatever. So a snake can constrict you, like our anger. It can constrict you to the point where you can no longer breathe, right? You're no longer yourself. It can drain your life force. You're easily manipulated. Or a snake can symbolize, for one, symbolizing Kundalini, right? The primal life force, a spiral coiled up, lies dormant. And then as maybe you have a spiritual awakening or something, it opens up, okay? Or snakes in a lot of cultures and things symbolize rebirth and renewal and transformation and shedding of old skin. And maybe people's fear of snakes is actually symbolic to something in their unconscious, that they're afraid of themselves or afraid to shed old layers of themselves. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about here. So you have two sides, right? Just like selective perception. Ooh, a snake. One person can be like, oh, I'm so afraid, get away, I'm gonna die. And another person could say, wow, that's a symbol of rebirth and renewal and healing for myself. Wisdom. Snakes can, influence positive creativity or their uniqueness. So that's what I mean by how we can view things in different ways, right? But the most important thing is to not be completely wiped out and drained by a human emotion and sit in it for a long period of time, okay? To be aware, to kind of move from that fear of snakes, fear of shedding old ways of thinking, transforming it into a new way of perception, okay? Where it's not clouded by only our biases, but it's looking at things from a larger picture. The time we're in, it can either be very symbolic to you, or you could just take it in the literal sense, like everybody sucks. Why can't people see what I see? Why can't they understand what's going on? Sure, I could go outside. I could take a walk. I could escape for a while, but I'm going to come back, and there's still going to be that default setting that you feel in the air, right? The anger, the rage, the discomfort. There's always going to be that default. So no matter how much I escape or how much I try to ease my mind, I've already seen it. I already know what's going on, right? You can't be ignorant about it. So we have to do something about it. And doing something is protecting your own life force, your own chi, your own energy. Okay? Not being sucked in by these energetic pendulums. The green, ugly monster wants you to feed into it with your rage, with your anger, because it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It wants your resistance and your... That's how it grows. It's like the blob. So it eats people, it gets bigger and bigger. We got a real life blob happening, like an energetic blob of, I guess you could call it darkness, trying to eat up all of our light. A lot of us are feeling hopeless or helpless, but we're not. We're not helpless, we're not hopeless. It's just we see things happening so much. It's feeding, tapping into our already angry selves. We're on the hamster wheel, spiraling and spiraling, but not quite getting over to that next level because we're busy circling, right? Circling, fighting, rage, fighting, distracting ourselves, escaping over and over and over. It's okay though. We'll get through it. Will you allow life to drain your life force right now? Or will you protect it? Will you honor it? Will you use it instead of using your just primitive brain, emotional, reactive self, that hamster wheel, right? Or will you tap into your true self? Who are you here to be? See, most people don't know themselves. They're not honoring their soul. They're going against their spirit. They're doing things that are totally misaligned. If you don't know who you are, then the world will tell you who you are. They'll stick a label on your head. You identify as this, you need to do this in this way, it's the only way. And then you lose control. You're swept up by the script. But when you're powerful in your own life, when you protect your life force, when you become a silent observer in your life at the right times, and you observe what's going on from a collective standpoint, you realize that a lot of it is just cognitive bias. A lot of it is projection. A lot of it is based on past experience in this human life. And a lot of it is just skewed perception, skewed reality for everybody. But the more you give in to it, whatever it is, the more you're drained, the more you're manipulated. Right? If you don't know yourself, the world will tell you who to be. It'll tell you what to think, how to act. It will. And it'll keep repeating over and over again. Okay? The hamster wheel. So protect yourself, protect your boundaries, get offline for a little while, or go online and just observe as a silent observer. Okay, observe the strategy behind things, okay, but be in your center when you do it, not be in impulsive, reactive mode. Okay, that's the most important thing, is to be an observer in your life. Yes, you're also the actor, right? You're the character in this particular movie, but you're also the observer. You have to observe what you're doing and why you're doing it. That's important. A lot of people aren't observing. They're just reacting. They're just responding. So pay attention to your life force right now. If you are feeling drained, if you are feeling completely misaligned in your body, very uncomfortable, that's a red flag to do something different. Okay? Because the way we're all going down and fighting and clashing is only draining us further. And the more drained we are, the easier we are to manipulate in life. The easier it is for information to get us to just react from a primitive level and to not be in our bodies, to not be that creator, to not be that, to be more on the side of fearing the snake versus embracing the symbolism behind the snake of transformation and outgrowing patterns. So the unconscious is coming from a collective standpoint. The unconscious is coming up to the surface, and we're seeing a lot of people's true colors coming out. But you have to question, is this how they are, or have they been tampered with? Have they been skewed? What happened in the past that's making them have this experience, I guess you could say? Or are they being fed things that is confirming their confirmation bias? That kind of thing. Okay, we all know that right now we're vulnerable to a lot of things, and we're all very emotional, and there's a lot of spiritual internal stuff happening with people on a consciousness level. And the key is, how will you respond to it? Will you ignore what's happening? Will you just distract yourself? Will you escape? Will you fight out of human emotion? Or will you tap into your life force in a sort of way? Protect it. Protect it so it can grow on an individual level. Not everybody will resonate with any of what I just said, but I'm hoping some of you will. So anyway, I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Like and subscribe. Peace.